Hi, my name is Amanda, and I'm doing my talk on constructivism. Constructivism is basically the theory whereby you learn by doing rather than necessarily rote learning or with the teacher being at the front of the classroom. So you're more involved in the learning process, and it's about you're learning based on prior experience and building on your experience rather than it being that you don't know anything and that you've come into it as, for example, a blank canvas. So you're developing and you're learning and you're growing and you're evolving, and it's based on your interests. So hopefully the facilitator rather than the teacher is engaging you with something that is personal to you and that interests you, or can relate it to something that you might find of value. So relating it to my school experience, I remember going on a geography field trip and I really enjoyed it. And the reason why I think I enjoyed it so much was because we were given the opportunity to explore nature and get out of the four walls in the classroom. So we were engaging with our environment, and we were engaging with each other, with our peers, our friends, and our teachers weren't as direct in what they were illustrating to us. They were guiding us rather than sort of just using the blackboard and teaching us that way. So it was a memorable experience from that point of view. And I remember actually coming to visit the Mornington Peninsula, which is where I live now. So it had a big impact on me actually, because it's influenced where I'm living. But I remember at the time the contrast between Melbourne and Port Phillip Bay and the developed areas in the city and around those areas versus Port Phillip Bay and the Mornington Peninsula with the ocean beaches. And we were analysing and assessing the sand dunes and natural processes, and we were looking and we were able to see it for ourselves and take photos and actually walk the dunes and see for ourselves the effect of the weathering and that sort of thing. And by doing it, I learnt a lot and I remember it rather than just learning it from textbook or being told the processes and that sort of memory-based learning. So overall, I found that constructivism was the best way for me to learn, and that was just one example where I found constructivism ideal for me. Other experiences I had were, for example, work experience, and when I did that, I really enjoyed it because I got the opportunity to do it and apply my knowledge. So overall, based on Bloom's taxonomy, overall I was able to remember the experience. I was able to recall. I visually got to see things. So I'm a visual learner and I'm also learned by doing. So I found that the whole experience enabled me to remember, whereas if I have to listen too much, I generally don't find that's the most effective way for me to learn. So the experience of being involved and actively engaged in the environment really helped me. Helped me to understand. I think because it was such a new experience, also it stood out from any other experience, and that helped me to understand what I was learning as well. It took me to a deeper level in terms of what I created as my, it was year 10 VCE, so it was I think unit 3 and 4 at year 10, so it was a challenge, but I actually did really well on the task because I was so interested in what I was learning, and I put a lot of energy into it because I felt personally invested in it, and it was something that stimulated and engaged me. So I think I got more creative as a result of that process rather than some of the other subjects which I enjoyed, but probably just the way that it was taught. For example, I studied psychology and I really enjoyed it, but learning out of a book just didn't quite engage me in the same way that being exposed to the environment and especially nature, and how that influenced my ability to be creative and produce something that was a little bit different. So overall, I am a strong advocate of Constructivism, and I will be doing my assignment on it. So anyway, wish me luck, and I'll see you soon.